All right, it is the Week 6 Sunday night edition of the PFF Forecast. October, technically now, 18th, Monday morning, I guess, already. We are going to recap a little bit of Week 6. Some kind of crazy stuff happened. We thought Chargers-Ravens was going to be an amazing game. The Ravens put the smackdown on them. Same with Cardinals and Browns. So we'll talk about who the top 5 teams in the NFL are now. We'll do some first third of the season overreactions, and then we will get to the Week 7, guess the lines, and our favorite bets. Let's rock. We were not super excited about the Sunday night game, but let's just say this: I have money on Geno Smith +5.
It hits a little
different, man. And if it wasn't for T.J. Watt being a superhuman,
and the Seahawks also just like not running good offense in the first half.
When they came out in the second half and started establishing the run, much to Pete Carroll's excitement. But then they had that one after they got the fumble from Big Ben, and then they ran 3 plays where the ball never crossed the line of scrimmage, and that was when it was over.
Weirdly, their defense has been really bad most of the season, but their defense gave them a chance to win this game.
Yeah,
like Jamal Adams did not play a great game.
Okay, before we get to the teams that are actually playing really well, can I ask you this question? So Jamal Adams was traded for 2 first-round picks. Is that the worst trade for a young player in their prime?
Frank Clark is worse.
What did they give up for Frank Clark?
A 1 and a 2 and a $100 million contract.
Yeah. I mean, they paid Jamal Adams too.
Yeah.
At least Frank Clark made a play in a game that mattered.
Yeah, a couple. I mean, he did. Yeah, he's awful now. I mean,
Jamal Adams has more hits on his own team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think of the big trades that like just didn't work. I mean, quarterback ones are certainly like Jay Cutler was kind of like Matt.
Don't put Jay Cutler and Jamal Adams.
I mean, yeah, Jay Cutler brought the Bears to Super playoffs once.
True. Okay, let's do this. Let's start here. 2 really good teams, won really decisively. Which one means more? The Arizona Cardinals beating the Browns as a 3-point underdog on the road. They beat them 37-14. Or the Baltimore Ravens close as the 3-point favorite at home, beating the Chargers 34-6.
Well, I think the Arizona Cardinals win. They're both really impressive. I mean, the Ravens one was interesting, right? Because you had we got the Chargers at +3.5. Then, and it was interesting. I was like, I was trying to explain like which side of that game we were on. Like, well, we bet Chargers +3.5, and then after Monday Night Football, it got down to 2.5, and so we took a little bit of Ravens. So we really off that game, and obviously the Ravens just kind of held control of the game. I did say something on for one, a couple people in the industry asked why our power ranking for the Chargers wasn't that high. It was like, and I think it was low. But the reason was I said that like a lot of their games were kind of noisy, they were playing well, but when you're almost, when you convert almost every 4th down, things are pretty good for you. And today they got the wrong end of variance a couple times on 4th down.
Yeah, and they were 3 of 12 on 3rd down.
And 3 of 12 on 3rd down. The Ravens also were really good defensively. And another interesting thing was, and I said this on the pregame show today, the PFF Live show, which you can watch on YouTube at 11 a.m. every Sunday. The Chargers don't have that many weapons on the outside, right? Like, so the Ravens struggle because they don't have Marcus Peters. They're a little bit less depthy in the secondary than they used to be, but it kind of matched up okay with Baltimore today. And Baltimore absolutely pressed that advantage. And then on offense, they were fantastic. The Arizona win, though, in my opinion, may be a little bit more impressive. You go on the road, there's bad weather, you're not favored, and with and we liked under in that game. It would have hit if it wasn't for the Hail Mary. But, like, for the most part, other than the Hail Mary, you really didn't give up anything today on defense, which a lot of our concerns were about their defense. They played great there most of the time all season, and then Kyler was great, and they did it without their head coach. So I would break the tie by saying the Arizona Cardinals.
The Chargers are an interesting one. You mentioned their power ranking. So we also power rank, if you go to PFF.com and get yourself an Edge subscription, by the way, which you can get now. We have some great fans out there. A little challenge here. We're having a contest amongst all the podcasts. Promo code FORECAST, FORECAST, 25% off any subscription. Tell all of your friends. I have a lot of money on the line here, so, like, please band together. But with an Edge subscription, you can see our power rankings. We also power rank the quarterbacks, and this is interesting. So Justin Herbert is, in our power ratings, worth 7.5 points above a replacement level quarterback towards the spread. That is tied for third in the NFL, okay, with 3 other guys.
Yeah.
But among all of those players that are in the top 5 quarterbacks, the Los Angeles Chargers are the lowest power ranked team. And when I saw that going into today, I was like, that's really interesting because I really like their team. I like Brandon Staley. I like their offensive weapons. I like their defensive players. But I thought it showed in this game where maybe they aren't as strong when Justin Herbert isn't making incredible play after incredible play. That was, I mean, it was shocking.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it was really alarming that how little they were open on plays, and how much the Ravens, were able to fluster them. I mean, they had 6 points. Talking about 6 points. They had the 17 or 20. I can't remember how much it was. They had 20, and then they had 17, I think, in games 1 and 2. So we have not seen them necessarily explode every single game, but then they, sort of were really high scoring the last 3 games. 6 there. Very impressive by Baltimore. Baltimore, who we went into the week having as our 4th rated power rate, 4th highest rated team. I think it just goes up here, obviously. Kansas City took care of business, covered the spread. It wasn't the most pretty thing in the world. And Tampa Bay won on a short week against Philly. Buffalo plays tonight. So, Baltimore still probably 4th, maybe leapfrogs Kansas City a little bit, but very impressive by John Harbaugh's bunch. It's funny how a week 1 loss against the Raiders doesn't really matter that much anymore. Like two teams in our top 4, bad losses in week 1 have seemed to gone away.
Yeah, boy, that Steelers victory over the Bills looks
weird.
Really interesting. I struggled with this one. I gave the tie to, I think, the quarterback that made the biggest statement today, and I think that was Kyler Murray. So I'm going to give the Cardinals the more impressive victory because it was on the road, because they were an underdog. And this is not to take anything away from the Ravens, who I believe are, we've been waiting for this Lamar Jackson, and I'm excited for the playoffs to get here. Like, I really hope they're healthy when they get there. But what the Cardinals have done and what Kyler Murray has done is something that's really cool. What did we say all offseason? All offseason, we said Kyler Murray is really great, but he needs to improve in one key area. You said it. He needs to hit more doubles. What we mean there is that he needs to be better throwing the ball to the intermediate area of the field, the 10 to 19 range down the field. So let's take a look. 2019, his PFF grade throwing into the intermediate area of the field, 53.4. Passer rating, 61.3. 2020, PFF grade, mid-70s. Passer rating, throwing to the intermediate area of the field, is again in the 60s, 68.4. So far this season, his PFF grade throwing to the intermediate area of the field is 93.2. His passer rating is 140.1. That's and really freaking cool.
And we talked about this on the pregame show too. It's like, you know why that, like, the cool thing about this team, you know how many targets DeAndre Hopkins had today? It was like 4 or 5, right? Yep. This team is not.
They're not force feeding.
They're not unloading the clip this year.
Yep.
Kyler's not running that much, right? He's not running as much as he did last season per game. They're not throwing nearly like Hopkins was getting 30% of the targets last year. It's like more like 16, 17, 18 now. And so like you remember that game when Houston beat Buffalo in the playoffs when the first half of the game Tre'Davious White was like really shadowing Hopkins. In the second half they put Hopkins in slot and they just peppered him the rest of the game. There's going to be a game when somebody has Cliff figured out, Kyler figured out. And what they can
COVID figured him out this week.
Yeah. And what they can do now is just pepper Hopkins when they're desperate, right? Whereas in previous seasons or last season, their first season together, he was already throwing him the ball too much and they couldn't like go off of that, right? Now they at least have some spread out offense. It's Christian Kirk one week, it's Rondale Moore other weeks, X, Y, and Z. Like, good on them. Like I'm pretty excited about, you know, sort of the direction that's going.
Yeah, again, Kyler had a hurt shoulder. You go into the game, you go, man, so reliant on him making special plays. The fact that he has improved so much as a passer, year over year now, is why he's the front runner, probably with Josh Allen, depending on what happens tomorrow, for MVP. But I'm giving Kyler the MVP now. I gave it to Justin Herbert last week. I reserve the right to change every single week, and this week, it's Kyler Murray, and what he's done in games where he's been facing really good competition has been impressive, and this was another one of those. Let's do a little top 5 here. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I like it. I'm a fan.
You had last week Buffalo at the top. They have not played this week. I assume that means you are keeping your Buffalo Bills at the top.
Yeah. I'm going, Buffalo,
Okay.
Tampa,
Okay.
Kansas City,
Okay.
Baltimore. I'm just going straight from our power. And at 5, I have a tie.
Okay.
Arizona and Dallas.
Okay.
I think Arizona and Dallas both still. It's weird because I think Arizona and Dallas by the end of the season could be the best team in football. Like if everything continues to go the way it has, there's nothing. You know, Dak's fantastic. Kyler's been amazing. But like, I'm still clinging a little bit to my priors having them 5th.
Yeah, you're doubting them a little bit, and I get it.
Our guy Mike McCarthy, by the way, needs to start.
That was rough.
Using every down, using his
that
timeouts, using
really brutal.
His time effectively. That was rough.
Okay. Yeah, the Chargers have fallen out here for me, but I am surprised that you put your Chiefs that high. Let's talk about the Chiefs after this.
Okay.
Panic meter for me. There's some noise there. Okay. Again, when I do my power rankings, I'm not just thinking about this upcoming week. I am thinking about players ultimately getting healthy and where this team will end up at the end of the season. For me, that is why I have Tampa Bay ahead of Buffalo in the number 1 spot. Because when their defensive backs are healthy, Tom Brady is the better quarterback. They are an incredibly good team. I put them number 1. Number 2, and this is tough because I haven't seen Buffalo play yet, and they've looked fantastic. So I'm going to keep them as number 2 because they haven't played yet. That said, I think Baltimore could scrape past them. I'm going to put Baltimore and Arizona. They're the ones that are up for number 3, number 4. I'm going to put Arizona ahead of Baltimore right now. And the reason I'm going to do that is what Arizona has done with and the way Kyler Murray is throwing the football. I don't know. I have a little man crush on Kyler Murray. Can I say that? Is that okay?
Well, no, he's improved and he's gotten like
their offensive line is playing really well.
Well, I think he's the reason their offensive line plays so well. Like that's a thing. You know, that's not a trivial part of it.
Baltimore 4. And then I'm going to put Dallas 5. And I'm going to keep Kansas City out. Patrick Mahomes is not grading well.
Yeah.
He's not playing particularly well.
No, he's not.
His PFF passing grade pending review is right there with Teddy Bridgewater at 20th in the NFL. Does that not concern
he's
you?
also leading the NFL in touchdown passes, is he not? Like they're still being productive. I agree. When I watch that team,
but leading the NFL in touchdown passes when your defense is just getting dragged up and down the field.
Yeah, although they gave up 1 touchdown today, and They gave up 0 points in the second half. I'm not saying it matters. I'm not saying that it's anything to project from, but they took Sorensen out. They put in Thornhill.
Yep.
There were not nearly as many missed tackles. I have to look at, they didn't actually blitz more, but they were like, I thought that they were playing more aggressively defensively. They still have Ben Neiman in, and Ben Neiman was the one that was torched by Ricky Seals-Jones for the touchdown at the end of the half. They were losing going in. They were losing 13-10 going into halftime, and then they outscored the second half 21-0. So, like, it is Washington football team. They're not very good, but they were a team. Like, Taylor Heineke's not exactly a disaster. He put up a lot of points against New Orleans. He put up a lot of points against Buffalo. He's done some things before. So this was an encouraging game by the Chiefs. I'm still concerned that they gave a guy like Darrell Williams 21 carries. I'm still concerned that Patrick Mahomes is making mistakes. So he threw an interception that was awful that I've never seen him throw before.
He threw a couple.
Well, the one that was off Tyreek's hands, it doesn't really, in my opinion, it's not a mistake.
The second one was way worse.
The second one was terrible. They have a game against Tennessee next week. Very big barometer, I think, for them. They have to win that game, in my estimation, to really earn this. But the numbers are the numbers, and my priors are my priors, and that's kind of where I'm sitting with them. The market does believe going into the season that they are going into the week that they were the third most likely team to win the Super Bowl. So it's not too incongruent, but I agree with you that they're not out of the woods from this week. Yeah. They did exactly what you expected them to do this week.
Being able to beat Taylor Heineke is,
by the way, our lock of the week hit.
Thank God.
Somebody did call me out because we did tease. So it's a little weird. We didn't tease through 7, and I did say you should always tease through 7. I'm more talking about underdogs. I'm doing that when you tease up from 2.5 to 8.5. That's kind of when you're working with totals and stuff like that. Like, you're looking for low variance games. With favorites, because teams like Tampa Bay and teams like Kansas City just win, baby, there is a little bit, I'm more willing to tease through just the 6 and the 3. But that is a good shout out. That is, we do want to hold ourselves honest here.
Just count a W. By the way, I think right now I had to place, because I was thinking about, the best of that rest group. And I think, Ty goes to the quarterback. I would give Kyler the MVP right now. I think the number 2 spot has to go to Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
And number 3, Lamar Jackson. Dak was absolutely insane today. He's been so good all season long. Cowboys, undefeated against the spread, by the way. So you've got some teams here. You've got the Cowboys, the Browns, the Packers, the Rams. How would you separate those teams?
Man, it's tricky. So here's a question that I have for you, because take a look at Green Bay and take a look at the Rams. The Los Angeles Rams, Matthew Stafford is one of, I think if you don't count Stafford, he has the highest yards per attempt in the league right now, passing the ball. And that defense looked great today. Hasn't always looked great, but it looked great today. Daniel Jones was kind of a slump buster sometimes for defense.
Yeah. Entered today with the 4th toughest schedule to date.
And 28th coming out. They have another easy one next week.
Available on PFF.com.
So the problem I have is okay, look at the Rams and look at the Packers. We have them power rated similarly. Packers have not been nearly as impressive when you look at the wins and losses and the scores of the games, despite being 5-1, just like LA. They have a point differential that's barely positive.
25th hardest schedule
to date, 5th coming out of this week. Every team in the NFC North, a top 10 schedule coming out. So when I look at those two teams, is Green Bay weathering the storm of offensive line injuries, defensive injuries? No, they didn't have their 2 corners today. They don't have Zadarius Smith right now. Offensive line, they don't have Bakhtiari. They're struggling there. Jenkins has been hurt as well. If they were to play each other on a neutral, I think LA would be favored. And
agree.
But the quarterback advantage for Rodgers is, I make it 2 points. I still think it's a lot big. It's a weird one. And then you take a team like New Orleans, for example. Obviously, Jameis isn't in the same class as Rodgers or Stafford, But I look at the rest of I look at the defense for that team and the coach, and I think they're superior there to those two teams.
Dallas favored on a neutral field against Green Bay, you think?
Yeah.
Favored on a neutral field against LA?
Yeah. New Orleans too.
I think it's close. I would go LA by the smallest of hairs. And that's saying a lot about Rodgers, really. Because LA definitely the better team, more impressive.
If you gave me points with Dak Prescott against any team in the NFL except for maybe Buffalo and Tampa, or even Tampa, I would Dak is playing better than Dak is playing as well as any quarterback in the NFL right now. It's really
very true.
Encouraging.
And by the way, playing as well as any receiver in the NFL right now is CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
One of the coolest things about CeeDee Lamb is that he's like a running back after he catches the ball, but also is a ridiculous, really good route runner, great body control,
Prescott
makes catches all over the place. But also once he catches the ball on a screen, the dude just goes to he's headhunting at that point.
Prescott 90.5 PFF grade pending review, second in the NFL right now to Tom Brady, who's 91. Third is Russell Wilson. Fourth and fifth, Derek Carr and Kirk Cousins, two Kirks in there.
Jackson Mahomes had a really nice PFF grade today as well. Impressive work by him.
So one question, here's the interesting nugget. I brought up Carr.
Mm-hmm.
CeeDee Lamb taken third wide receiver last year.
Yep.
Over Henry Ruggs, Henry Ruggs has been fine.
He's played well this year.
But it just shows how it's not just about getting getting good players in the draft. It's about getting the best value in the draft. And the hard part about the Raiders, and I know they're 4-2 and they got back on track today. They got a good player with the 11th pick last year. They didn't get the best player. Imagine how much better that offense would be with CeeDee Lamb on it.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
That's fun that you're thinking about that because I'm thinking about how much better the Niners would be with CeeDee Lamb.
They got Ayuk
instead of Javon Kinlaw.
They got Ayuk.
Ayuk in his season doesn't even have half of what CeeDee Lamb put up
in a game this
Sunday.
Yeah,
it's a disaster. Okay, before we get to week 7, real quick, what do you think is the biggest if we look back to today in say 5 weeks? What's the thing we're overreacting to the most?
Today. Okay.
So as of right now, so we just went over our power ratings, talked about all these teams. What's the thing we're overreacting to the most right now?
Here's one, and again, I don't think we're overreacting to this too much, but I do think that the punditry is.
Okay.
I think the Bengals are more of a good feel story than they are a good team.
Kind of went down the ladder there.
But they're in the playoffs if the season started, if the season ended today, right? Yeah. When you look at the standings on Sunday Night Football, it was you saw the AFC North. It was Ravens, Bengals, Browns, and then Pittsburgh tied in the last place. People are like, oh, the Bengals. I'm really impressed with the Bengals. That's a team that I think is encouraging, but not super not a contender yet. Mm-hmm. And then my honorable mention for this is I think today's Chargers game is a blip. I think the Chargers will be fine. I think they got their ass kicked by the Ravens, but the Ravens are a good freaking football team. So I don't think that matters much.
Yeah. I think that, and I guess going that direction with what is the market overreacting to the most? My take is that it will be the Rams.
Mm-hmm. The hard part being though, George, right? The Rams next week have the Lions at home.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that's the time. I'm not saying you fade them immediately, but
and then they go to Houston.
You could also look. I could make the case as well. We just talked about having Arizona 3-4. In that spot. I think a lot of people are going to have them 1.
Yeah, that's too high.
And it's too high. It's okay to be an undefeated team and not be the best team in the NFL.
If the Cardinals and the Chiefs played on a neutral field, what would be the spread?
Wow.
I
think the Cardinals would be favored.
I can't. I think, and look, I love the Cardinals.
The Chiefs are playing not good football right now. That's just a fact.
I
mean, how
agree
many
with you.
times do you have to see it? It's been 6 weeks.
I agree with you, but I still think
they
the Chiefs
have not played well once.
Oh, they played well today.
They played Taylor Heineke.
Okay, but
Patrick Mahomes didn't play that well today.
no, not that. I mean, but as a team, like I thought they put.
When's the last time you saw them put together more than like 1.5 plays down the football field that looked good?
But that's because of the way the teams play them. Like
The teams don't play other teams that way?
well, not to the degree that but not to the degree that the Chiefs are played that way.
Interesting.
I think the Chiefs would be favored by 1.5, maybe 2.
Okay, I would take the Cardinals.
But your point stands. Your point is, okay, what if Arizona was on a neutral with Buffalo?
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo's favored in that game, right?
Yep.
And so what your point is like every swinging dick is going to have Arizona as their number 1 power rated team.
Yep.
When that's not true, right? Like that's not the case. I went all the way to team 3 because what would the Ravens be favored against them? Yes. Better coach, probably better quarterback, and a better defense. So like
I would take the Cardinals in that case.
yeah, okay. So my point is that Arizona is probably more like fundamentally, depending upon what you view the Chiefs as, 4th or 5th.
Yeah.
You know, they're not favored against Tampa. They're not favored against Buffalo, and they're not favored against the Ravens. They're probably not favored against the Chiefs.
Yeah, I would like to see what the market would make that Ravens game.
Mm-hmm.
You are a big Ravens fan, and that's fine.
Yeah. That's true. I also thought the Browns. I mean, I was also with the market, but like I thought the Browns were a good bet at 2.5 today.
I think
the market agreed it went out to 3.5.
Yeah.
But
They were an incredibly popular bet. A lot of that, I think, had to do with Cliff Kingsbury. Anyways, let's get into Week 7. Before we do, please go subscribe to the PFF Forecast if you're not already, either on YouTube or on wherever you get your podcasts. And use promo code FORECAST, FORCAST, at PFF.com to get 25% off. We need you. Spread it around. Tell your friends. Use that one little gift. I don't know, pre-Halloween gift, whatever it is. Give those out as Halloween gifts. Instead of candy, actually with candy, put a little, use promo code FORECAST for 25% off. The kids will love it. They love PFF subscriptions. If you're going to bet on games, also go do it at DraftKings. The DraftKings Sportsbook is the official betting partner of the NFL, and they've got you covered. Use promo code PFF when you sign up. New customers can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game, and if you do, you'll get $200 in free bets, which you can go place on all the great bets that you can find at PFF.com. Player props, my personal favorite, every single quarterback rushing prop basically hit today. Go make it happen at DraftKings and the DraftKings Sportsbook. Okay, Week 7, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of teams on bye. This is the big bye week. Bills, Cowboys, Jaguars, Chargers, Vikings, and Steelers. Maybe the most interesting storyline will be what the Jaguars do on their bye week. Do they just all go to Ohio? Heard there's some fun stuff to do there. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, were they going to leave Cliff in London if they would have lost?
Urban, you mean?
Urban, sorry. That was
the Urban
Freudian slip.
Freudian slip. All right, Thursday night, Broncos at Browns. What'd you have this one as?
Okay. Broncos, Browns. I say, this is before the games today. I had Cleveland minus 4.5.
Okay. I have Browns minus 5.5.
I think, although Teddy fell down to earth, right? Teddy fall hard.
Looks like it is 5.
So we're right in the middle there. Okay, no bet there. What do you think of, so Denver's about, if things go the way this is supposed to go, Denver's now going to lose their 4th straight, right? Go to 3-4.
By the way, overreaction tomorrow will be that the Browns are in trouble.
Well, yes and no, right? Because granted, they have lost to some good teams. Those have been their losses. But like Baker Mayfield doesn't look good. His chemistry with Odell is
got a little better today. Odell dropped a pass that if he catches on that 4th down, they've got a chance to make that a game.
They got a one-score game. They basically make it a one-score game. But like, don't you agree with me though that it's a little bit? They don't look good. They don't look. It's not like they're like playing the game against the Chargers was a good game.
Two tackles are out. Yeah. Jarvis Landry's been out. I'm not overreacting to the Cleveland Browns loss. They're going to be just.
It's actually shaping up to be a decent Thursday night game, which is kind of cool. I don't think we should bet it. Total on this game, 44. It looks like minus on Pinnacle, minus 110 to the under, minus 101 to the over. Let's look at Cleveland.
You know what this is going to be for the Browns? This is going to be Demetric Felton season.
So Thursday night weather, 65, precipitation 50%, wind 18 miles per hour.
Kareem Hunt injured. Nick Chubb may play, but injured. Demetric Felton is going to rumble.
You don't think AAF superstar Dearness Johnson will be the running back in this game?
I don't know. By the way, Teddy Bridgewater today. Turns out Teddy Bridgewater, when he beat 3 teams that cumulatively could not win a single game, that wasn't Teddy Bridgewater for real. Teddy Bridgewater for real is not very good. Congratulations.
Interesting. Where is Bridgewater here?
Teddy Bridgewater, ironically.
Teddy Bridgewater has 6 big-time throws this year. That's tied for 27th in the NFL.
Not great.
The ball taker carer of has more turnover-worthy plays than big-time throws this year, which is rough.
Next up.
Yeah.
The Panthers and the New York Giants, the 1 p.m. slate in the East Coast on Sunday. I had the Giants getting a point at home.
I said the Giants would be plus 2.5. I would imagine that that's too high.
No, that's I think exactly
spot
what it
on.
is.
Look at me.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually even trending towards 3 on Pinnacle. The Panthers minus 2.5, minus 114. Giants plus 2.5, plus 104. Total 44. This screams Wong teaser.
Yeah, dude.
Except for Daniel, like the Panthers defense, although they got worked over by a Vikings offense today to the tune of, 34 points?
Yeah.
That Vikings offense is actually decent when they let Kirk Cousins play football a little bit.
Sam Darnold is not very good. That's
well,
another thing.
Should we package this in a teaser?
I like a little tease.
Okay. The Giants. Because look, man, this sounds really stupid because obviously the way the game played out, but the Giants were being competitive with the Rams before Daniel Jones started throwing the ball to the other team. And that was
so the way that I look at this is, look, the Rams are a top 7 team, whatever you want to call it. The Panthers are not, but it's not just the difference between, like, say the Panthers are 15th, like 7 and 15. It's a literal class or 2 of football, right? And like, I think you could make a really strong case that at the end of the season, the Panthers and the Giants are in the same class.
Yeah, I agree. Panthers now 3-3, 3 consecutive losses after 3 straight wins against the easiest schedule in football, other than Denver. Schedules matter, folks.
Yes. By the way, strength of schedule available on PFF.com. Okay, Jets off of a bye. Who knows what that means? Go to New England to play the Patriots. Patriots, Mac Jones, pending review, a top 3 PFF passing grade this week. Played freaking well.
Spunkily.
Yeah. If you bet the Patriots, by the way, plus 3.5,
take a lap.
I mean, that's a great bet.
Or if you had under in that game, the under
true.
was if that pick 6 doesn't happen, if they just are kneel down on the ball after the Trayvon Diggs interception and run the clock out and kick a field goal, the game goes under by a touchdown. Instead, it goes over by 2 touchdowns.
Yep. Okay, I have New England favored by 8.5.
I said 6.5.
Oh wow!
And we I think have our teaser leg because so it is -7, but plus 102 to the -7 part. Plus 7's minus 112, so it is really more of a true 6.5. And this is again where I think this is the candidate to be the teaser leg to go with the Giants. So I'm going to call this the Belichick teaser, the big tuna teaser.
Yep.
So we go Giants plus 8.5, New England -1, let's say.
Can we for a second remember what Zach Wilson looked like against the Patriots at home, and ask yourself, what is he going to look like against the Patriots on the road?
Well, in that game, when they played in Jets, it was +6, maybe it closed +5.5. So home field advantage. So this is basically, of course, road teams coming off of a bye are worth something, but this is basically saying that New England has gotten worse since then in the eyes of the market, which I guess in week 2 they had just come off a spunky game against the Miami Dolphins. True. But they are the only team to lose to that bad Dolphins team, right? We found out the Dolphins are not very good. 5 straight losses since that loss.
It's a week-to-week league, Eric.
So this one makes sense from sort of how the market has evolved standpoint, let's take New England -1, teased with Giants +8.5. Here we'll take the -1 to please all the people. We are teasing through 7 and 3 to get to New England -1, and of course with the Giants +8.5.
I'm not gonna lie. If it gets down to 6.5, I just like the Patriots. But
yeah,
the Jets.
Total on this game 43. So again, perfect for that kind of thing. No totals I'm noticing except for one, and one that I think actually under is the play in the 50s, and this one is exactly 50. So this next week, not only a lot of big spreads as we'll talk about, but a lot of low totals. Interestingly.
Next up, Chiefs at Titans in Tennessee here.
Do we not? Okay, I'm not. Okay, I had Tennessee getting 2.5 at home.
Oh, wow. Okay, I have Tennessee getting 5.
See, I mean, I'm
I'm
probably short. What did you see it as?
I see 4.
Okay.
And I think that's interesting to me. I mean, they're plus what, 5.5.
Well, they're home. They're home. They're gonna be home.
Right. Plus 5.5 to the Bills. I guess that's saying
it's all the way out to 6 now.
Where?
Sorry.
The Bills game. Yeah.
Yeah, that's out to 6.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess that makes sense. I mean,
Chiefs 2 points worse than Buffalo. Well, plus maybe a quarter to half point reduction but it's maybe like a quarter of a point for Monday to Sunday transition.
Yeah.
So you're saying that maybe the Chiefs are 2, and the Chiefs' second straight road game, so maybe that cancels. So then you have basically Kansas City 2 points worse than Buffalo on a neutral. I think makes sense.
I think it's a little, it's fine. 4 or 5, potato.
I'm taking Derrick Henry's over, in that game, but
yeah, probably same. Next up, Washington goes to Green Bay to play the Packers.
Ooh.
What'd you have this one at?
Washington starting out 2-5. You'd hate to see that happen. All right, I had Green Bay -9.5.
Okay, I had Green Bay -9.
It is it's basically -10. So here's a question I have.
I don't want to bet Washington.
Okay, because I was gonna ask, because I do think, and this is sort of similar to the game that they had against Buffalo, where you're like, man, that's a lot of points, and Green Bay hasn't been all that impressive, but they played like kind of a non-impressive game this week and beat a Bears team who I think is similarly yoked to Washington by 10. So that is what it is. Let's lay off that game. Doesn't look like we like that many of these this week.
Yeah, that's I see 9.5 in some places, actually.
Okay.
So
we were both right-ish.
I think we were pretty close. Falcons, Dolphins. Actually, going back to Washington, Green Bay real quick. Just worth a shout out that Devontae Adams is the best wide receiver in the NFL, and it's not particularly close.
Especially given that Green Bay makes absolutely no effort to help him.
No.
With other receivers, yeah, it's something else.
It's absurd. Falcons coming off of a bye, facing the Miami Dolphins coming off of a London game in Miami.
Yeah.
I have the Dolphins as a 2.5 point favorite.
I do too. Now, before the games, I think that was reasonable. Now it's basically a pick. Falcons are -108 on the money line. Dolphins are -102, so it's a little bit Falcony. Falcons could go to 3-3 with a win here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I want to bet them. Total on the game, 48.
Tua actually looked good today. I thought that
Brian Flores was really bad today.
They also didn't have both their starting corners, Xavier Howard and Byron Jones.
They were Justin Coleman and former first-round pick Noah Igbenogany.
Yeah, so I don't know if those two guys will be back.
Falcons don't exactly have a ton of receivers that can hurt you.
No. Also, last time we saw the Falcons was in London without Calvin Ridley and Russell Gage. So
they won, they covered all that stuff against the Jets, which is not necessarily great data. But okay, unless we want to take the Falcons.
I think the Falcons are interesting. No, I'm not gonna lie. I just think they're kind of interesting. I was hoping it was gonna be 2.5.
Yeah, but not after today.
Say lovey. Bengals Ravens. This is
actually another
really good game. This is in Baltimore. Best game of this early slate. What you have?
I said Baltimore -7.5.
I have Baltimore -7.
It is -6.5, and I believe we should put Baltimore in a teaser with the aforementioned.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I love Joe Burrow. I love the Bengals, but that game was 10-0, 7-0 at half against the Detroit Lions. Like, that game was winnable for any team that's good.
Okay, I'll consider it. Joe Burrow, again, playing really, really freaking well.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, man, that's tough. Joe Burrow probably going to finish with a top 5 grade, PFF passing grade this week. But yeah, I can get on board with it. Okay, before we get to the afternoon slate, we are brought to you by our good friends at Western and Southern Financial. You go bet on games, you win some money, you got to find something to do with your money. And Western and Southern is a great place to help you figure out the best way to make your money grow. And they're doing something pretty cool. They're teaming up with our good friend, Chris Collinsworth, to share some insights on how they can help you put your head together for both your fantasy and your financial scoreboards. Want to hear about Chris's old playing days or behind the scenes with Al on Sunday night? I can trust you. Like, I can tell you that's funny. You should probably want to hear about it. How about a need to know for your financial future? Now you can ask either or both, and every football or financial question you ask earns you a chance to win a catered party for the big game in February. You may have heard of that one. Check out the Chris Collinsworth podcast and Western Southern's Instagram for answers to the best questions each week and get yourself on the path to
righteousness.
To righteousness, yep. Submit your questions at westernsouthern.com/askchris. westernsouthern.com/askchris. Go make it happen now. And we're brought to you by Fantrax. If you are going to host a fantasy football league somewhere, go do it at Fantrax. It's the most customizable, great UI UX, really easy to do things like multi-team trades, fab for future year picks, all this stuff. It's awesome. And if you're using it for, like basketball, it's like 48 hours away. So go to fantrax.com, set up your league, use promo code PFF at fantrax.com/PFF, and you can win signed jerseys when you create your own league there. So go make that happen. Okay. It's a little late. We got through the reads. Okay.
You made it.
4 p.m. slate. Lions, Rams. Los Angeles.
I said Rams -14.5. I'm short on it, I think.
I said 13.5. And it is 16. Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't think I could touch Detroit with a 40-foot pole here, though. Nor would I want to.
I mean, this is a revenge game for Jared Goff. This is the Jared Goff revenge game. You don't want to take Jared Goff, number 16, getting 16 in Los Angeles.
All you have to do is add John 3:16 to that discussion, and maybe I'll do it.
Okay, I know they just got the crap kicked out of them by the Bengals, but trap game. Looking ahead to this game, Jared Goff has circled this game. He just got called out by his coach. Opportunity. +16. I don't know if I can do it.
I can't.
Here's the tough thing, because as much as this is a Jared Goff revenge game, this is also a Sean McVay. I need to prove that me trading for Matt Stafford made sense, and everything that he knows that Jared Goff can't handle, they're going to throw at him.
Yeah, I think this is a, hey, Raheem.
That said, 16 is enticing.
Yeah. That this is something that's very important to note as sports bettors. The book has to hang a line for every single game. You do not have to bet every single game. So, like, for a game like
this.
What's that?
I didn't know that.
For a game like this, like, I get it. I think, like, there's no way I'm laying the points to the Rams, because there might just be a game where it's like welcome in. It's the fourth quarter, and the Rams are leading 3-0. It's like
Little Harry
you just
Carey,
got
yeah.
no chance there. But there's also exactly what you described, where like the Detroit Lions are not even trying to win football games. They've gone 3-3 against spread, so they're not completely disaster.
No.
But like
We have the Lions as our lowest ranked team, though,
Yeah.
in the NFL. Worth noting.
bad.
Eagles, Raiders in Las Vegas. I have the Raiders favored by 4.5 here.
I have the Raiders favored by 6.5.
The Raiders are favored by 3.
I like that.
So it's interesting. When I was picking this line, I started it at Raiders -6. And I go, you know who the Eagles are? The Eagles are a really bad team. With Jalen Hurts, there's always a really good chance they come through the back door. Like, he's a mobile guy. They have good receivers. He's going to scramble around. They're going to try and win every single freaking game.
At 3, though, they have to win the game outright.
But at 3,
basically, you know what I mean.
By the way, people gave me shit for liking the Raiders this week. I don't get it. The weight off the back, the monkey off the back.
Yeah. Plus 3.5, maybe. Well, it was actually close 5. So we got negative cleave on that pick. Picks went 2 and 3 this week.
Okay.
We got negative cleave on that one.
Lock of the week hurt. Lock of the week hit. That's all that matters.
I'll take Vegas -3. I think that's a pick for me. A selection for me, let's say.
Speaking of pick that did not work, the Texans +10 against the Indianapolis Colts. Come on, Texans. What are you doing? They are now
They were
going.
spunky for a while, but
They are now going to Arizona to play the Cardinals. I have the Cardinals favored by 14.5 in this game. Probably short.
I said 13.5. It is -17. I mean, look,
-17. God help us all.
This is a DeAndre Hopkins revenge game.
It is.
You don't that's baked in. I
Who?
think.
But his revenge is not against anyone on this team. There's no one left on this
team. Give it to Houston. There's no one left that was there during the DeAndre Hopkins era, other than maybe like Zach Cunningham, maybe. But this is trending towards 17.5. I think if you're a huge sicko and want to take this, wait till it gets to 17.5. Because that's probably the right play. Total on this game 48.
Can I ask you a question? Where did you hear the word sicko?
What's that?
You've been using the word sicko a lot.
I think I read it. Actually, I think maybe like something like Matt Harmon said it, and I was like, oh, that does describe me to a T. And so like I've just been projecting that onto everybody else as sort of
the phrase "huge sicko" has become
I'll stop.
It's okay. I kind of like it. I'm kind of a
so
sicko
like
as well.
if you are deranged like me, you take Houston plus 17.5, but I don't think we can write that up because I don't think it's 17.5 yet, and I'd hate for to have it like, you know, and they're not a high push probability on 17, but whatever.
Bears Bucks in Tampa Bay. What would you have this at?
I'm completely wrong. Why am I completely wrong?
What'd you have it at?
7.5.
Oh wow, you must be wrong. I have it at 12.5.
You're way closer. It's 13. So why do I like Chicago? Am I just holding out hope for
Are you remembering
Argyle
last
Fields?
year when they won outright? They won outright with Nick Foles. Yeah.
In
Tom Brady
Tampa,
couldn't count downs.
In Tampa's banged up. Tampa, like their defense, like I guess Chicago's offensive line is prohibitively bad, and Tampa, even though they're banged up, it's mostly in the secondary.
Yeah.
But their defense is fine. Chicago's played good defense again today.
God, I hate to say this, but oh man,
I think there's value on the Chicago Bears in this game.
I agree.
Okay, well, it's trending towards 12.5. Let's take the 13 while it's still there. Tampa does get a little bit of a mini bye with the Thursday night football, but I mean, there's not a lot to select from here. I do think.
Man, it's hard to. This is tough. Tom Brady is just. But you know they were up big on the Eagles and they kind of sat on it.
Yeah, I mean, Fat Lenny sat on it.
Sunday night, Colts Niners.
Jeez. God bless
Prayers
Chris.
and thoughts. San Francisco coming off of a bye.
I took the Niners -6.5, but I think it's long now.
I have Niners -3.
It's -4. So you and I disagree on this one.
I think this is probably assuming Jimmy G.
Probably assuming Jimmy G. Total on the game 44.5. Carson Wentz for despite everything I've just said, has looked decent in game recently. Jonathan Taylor's fantastic. They're bullying people up front. Now, I think if they would have think about how much different the narrative would be if they hung on and won against Baltimore Monday. The AFC would be a lot more flat. Baltimore, LAC.
I thought they were gonna just kind of give up. They did not.
Yeah, they played a really good game today. Or they covered the spread and they kind of dominated today. I actually didn't watch that much of it, but you
didn't watch much of Colts Texans. You're saying? Interesting.
Well, so Kevin Clark, our good friend, friend of the show, said he has no evidence that it happened, and I said, well, it's Texas trying to scrub history again.
Monday night. Monday night is Saints Seahawks because we need Jamal Adams trying to catch a football once again.
Jameis is going to give him an opportunity. You know it.
In prime time. Oh yeah, he's probably gonna dome him in the helmet.
Dome him.
Yeah, that's not how I wanted to sound.
That was Big Ben's highest velocity throw, the one that hit Jamal Adams in the face.
I have the Seahawks getting 5 points.
Whoa. I have Seahawks, and I guess New Orleans coming off a bye. Seattle's coming off. I have Seattle getting 2.5.
Wow. I guess you're betting on Geno Smith because
jeans, as we were calling him tonight.
Yeah, old blue jeans over here. It is New Orleans. Well, pre-Sunday night.
Yeah,
was New Orleans plus 3.5.
Yeah, Sunday night. I think pre-Sunday night. I mean, maybe that's a flat 3 now, right? Because Seattle actually covered against a team that some people believe is good. I don't believe is good, but
what is happening here? Sean Payton coming off a bye, only having to beat Geno Smith by 3 points is.
Do you want to lay the points then? I'm fine doing that.
Is a joke in my.
Do you want to do it? New Orleans at Seattle. New Orleans did win in Seattle with a backup quarterback in 2019 with Teddy.
Yeah, with Tedford.
Seattle, look, New Orleans doesn't have great weapons on offense, but I'll tell you who doesn't have great weapons on defense. Seattle Seahawks. I think tonight's game, the fact that Seattle covered the number and were otherwise looked, quote, impressive, was probably more to do with how bad Pittsburgh is. So, yeah, let's lay the points with New Orleans. Call it.
You'll find out if we decide to actually write it up. Our article will be out probably when you're listening to this, early in the morning on Monday. How's our show? We're on to week 7, baby. Appreciate y'all. Love you. Peace.